And of course, that weather top of mind for some as we approach the time for the Iowa caucuses. And we have a very special guest with us this morning. Florida's Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez has endorsed her boss, Governor Ron DeSantis. Good morning to you, Lieutenant Governor. Thanks for being here.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about the make or break that some say is D-Day for Governor DeSantis. How do you see it? Is it a make or break?
Well, I wouldn't call it D-Day. I would actually call it V-Day because we're really confident that the governor is going to do extremely well. He has spent an inordinate amount of time here in Iowa. He's visited all 99 counties. He has the endorsement of Iowa's extremely popular governor, Governor Reynolds, so many legislators, so many faith leaders. And we're confident that that work that he's put in, the time and the investments that he's put in here to this great state are not only going to yield fruits, but they're going to show that Governor DeSantis is the one leading the way. He's the one that's delivered on all of his campaign promises as governor of the great state of Florida. So we're confident that we're going to do well, and we're excited about Iowans not only braving the cold to go out and caucus, but to support him wholeheartedly.
Well, I wanted to touch on what you mentioned, the faith endorsements, up to 50 new endorsements from pastors and ministry leaders across the state. That's impressive. But is there any one factor that Governor DeSantis is going to be actually, using to leverage or boost himself? Because, I mean, decidedly, you can see there's a huge difference between his numbers and the former president's, President Trump's. But will it be faith that gives him the edge tonight? Will it be his views on immigration? What do you say?
I think there's a whole host of factors that will lead to why people will support the governor. Of course, faith is an important part. Iowans are very strong in their faith. They've shown that historically throughout the caucus, that usually the person they endorse is someone that has connected with the faith community. But in addition to the governor's strong faith, he is a man of faith. He's shown it when he was standing by his wife battling breast cancer. He is just a wonderful individual that believes very strongly in faith, leading and guiding him. But in addition to that, his policies in Florida. And it's not just a Florida thing. Of course, all of his great policies would really bring a tremendous amount of benefit to the entirety of the country. And I think Iowans recognize that there's a lot of synergy, a lot of similarities between Iowa and Florida, not the temperature, of course.
Not by a long shot.
I do believe, no, not by a long shot. But I do believe that many of the things that the governor has campaigned and delivered, which is the one thing that distinguishes him against all of his opponents, including the former president. He has not only campaigned, but he's delivered on 100% of his campaign promises. He's shown the way for parental rights and education. He's made sure our children get a high-quality education and aren't indoctrinated. He's made sure to lower taxes consistently for hardworking, average Floridians that need that help because of the disaster at the federal government. Under Biden inflation. So many things. It's hard to pinpoint one factor as to what I believe will allow the governor to do extremely well tonight. So again, I believe that Iowans recognize that. I believe that they will come out in droves to support Governor DeSantis.
I want to get this in really, really quickly. Both of the state of Florida's senators have endorsed former President Trump. How does DeSantis and his campaign square that with his supporters?
Well, we don't believe that endorsements really equate to what voters are going to do when they go to the polls, when they go to caucus. We understand that there are endorsements that are flying left and right, but really we're proud of the endorsements we have, especially those in Iowa, like Governor Reynolds. But we believe that ultimately the people decide. We believe that they're the ones that have the power to select their next president. And again, I think based on the governor's trajectory, based on his results, based on the fact that he's the only veteran in the race that understands the importance of national security and what it means to put on that uniform and ultimately give the sacrifices that he has in the military. I think all of those things speak volumes about who the governor is. He's going to lead the great American revival. He understands that it is a time for choosing not only today for Iowans, but throughout the next couple of months for Americans, because we are in a very precarious situation as a country. I think everyone understands that.
It is again, unprecedented year, as it's been the past few years. Florida Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.